Most High God, please block anybody trying to interfere with this reading and with this video. Do step in and deliver your messages to we, your children. So, my good folks out there in YouTube land, let's see what God want to talk about today. Okay, so we got model and judge. So model, judge. So it's like a role model, being a role model because you're a good judge. Period. It's like making good life decisions about friendships, familyships, relationships, making good decisions when it comes to your relationship with your children. When I say family ships, I mean like have good relations with your elders and also have good relations with your youngers. Yeah, having a good relationship with the system, although it's so corrupt. Having a good relationship with your community, having a good relationship with the stores that you frequent, having a good relationship with nature, as we learned yesterday. My gate is banging. Hang on. At the bottom of the deck, we got president. Yeah, being at the top. Can't see shit. Hang on. There we go. President. So, yeah. When you're sitting at the top, you got to make sure that you're making great decisions. Although you will make mistakes, okay? Because some people find that it's difficult when you're sitting at the top and so many people watch you and model themselves after you. It's like you don't really get the grace that you deserve to make mistakes. But you know what? You do get the grace you deserve to make mistakes because it's not about how other people view you. Don't let other people's opinions of you change your mental, emotional, and psychological stability. You see, that's the problem. Because just because, let's say, for like movie stars, um, musicians, football, basketball players, some people look up to um, owners of shops, people of high stature. A lot of people look up to them and they would tend to kind of model themselves after them. But the truth of the matter is, all these people, although they're at the top of their game, we got flaws. We have flaws and we're only human. So the world needs to recognize the good in us and also recognize that we have flaws. There are things about us that need to be worked on. There are personality traits of ours that need to be worked on. So it's for you, the influencer, yourself, to acknowledge, accept, and make that clear to those who look up to you as a role model and judge, so that they know that even though you know that they see you as a great example to kind of help shape their character from, they need to look for the pitfalls in the flaws of our character. Okay, don't just take everything that we do and everything that we say as though it's solid. No, You have a brain for yourself. I respect and I'm grateful for your admiration. I am happy to be a role model to you, but I am not going to be held accountable if you choose to do everything that I do without you thinking for yourself. Okay? So if I drink, it don't mean that you're meant to be drinking too. Everything is not for everybody. Okay? If I smoke, it don't mean that you need to be smoking too. Everything is not for everybody. If I'm a sex addict, it don't mean that you need to be a sex addict too. You need to take the good traits from my character and build yourself, or else the parts that you don't see about me is when I get in trouble for my flaws. I don't show you that part. And if you build your character repeating the bullshit that I do because you just hold me in such high regard, you're going to fall into the same pits that I fall into. You're going to find yourself having the same problems that I have that I've never told you about. Because, yeah, you know that I get a lot of girls, or I have, let's say, I have sex with a lot of girls, or I have sex with a lot of guys. What you don't know is how many times I've been hit with an STD. I'm not going to tell you that. But if you choose to mimic my behavior, you're going to find that out for yourself. But if you use forethought, you would know that part of my of my character makeup is bullshit. Call the bullshit when you see the bullshit. And don't take up the bullshit, or you're going to experience the same type of bullshit that I be experiencing. Everybody has flaws. So, what God is trying to talk about today is your relationship with those that you idolize, your relationship with those that you are a big supporter of. Okay? And I'm going to stop the gate from banging. Hang on. Then we'll continue. So for the young girls, for example, who are intrigued by superstars who dress almost naked, yeah, you can follow them, but then you'll experience what they experience. And it's like, if you dress, I don't even want to call it a derogatory term, because sometimes you just feel like letting it all hang out, and you should be allowed to put on a little pum pum shots if you feel like. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal opinion. If you feel like putting on a swimsuit and a pum pum shots and walk down the road, no matter how big or how small your booty and your boobs are, you should be able to do so. Okay? But you need to know the type of energy that attracts, and that is where the problem is. So you may see your biggest celebrities, they come out on stage in like swimsuit type uh designs, okay, barely covered up and stuff like that. You might feel free let your freak you might feel like letting your freak flag fly one day and decide, I'm gonna put on a swimsuit and I'm gonna put on a mesh skirt over it, So it's like, yeah, I'm dressed, but you can see straight through it, and you can see that all I have on underneath here is a swimsuit. Yeah, it's nice, but you're gonna attract a whole load of attention that you probably aren't ready for, that you probably don't want, because you might be trying to attract a certain type of person, but there are going to be people that you're not trying to attract that will be attracted to that too. You don't get to decide who sees it as beautiful, or who wants to respond to how you're dressed in whatever way they want to respond. Some people might come touching you. They just can't help themselves, or they don't care to help themselves. What are you going to do? Yeah, they're wrong for doing it, but what are you going to do about that? You see what I'm saying? So, God want to talk today about us loving the people that we look up to, but being aware of what personality traits of theirs, or what characteristics of theirs we ought to not indulge in. Okay? Leave them with that by themselves. But in order for you to decide on that, it takes some forethought. Usually, we dive right into whatever the characteristic is, experience the experience that comes with diving into that characteristic, only to learn the lesson once we're in it. But if we are fortunate enough to know the negative possibilities before we indulge, then that's a blessing. So this reading today is definitely a blessing. Okay? So this reading today is to make you guys aware of having forethought when you think to follow trends, when you think to emulate character traits. So let's say for people who are more intellectual, you want to be a business owner. Your flaw isn't following the gallus path, whereby you open up yourself to a lot of STDs and stuff like that, for example. Or your problem isn't following the naked path, where you attract a whole load of men who are just gonna see you as something worth disrespecting just because of how you're dressed. Let's say that's not your issue. You're more the intellectual type. So you look up to like business owners, people like that. One of the traps that you could fall in is a lot of business uh moguls. They're actually very dishonest in their business dealings. You might get to know one of them, and you get to see behind the scenes that there's a lot of corruption that go on behind the scenes. Now, what you don't know is how many people hate this person that you hold in such high regard, because they fucked over so many people. That's the part that you don't see. And if you just take up that characteristic trait of being crafty in business as well, then the misfortune that they have to deal with on a daily basis that they don't show you or tell you about, you're going to find yourself having to deal with those too. Because people don't enjoy being cheated. Okay? So there might be a street pharmacist, and they find some clever way of hustling the people that they buy from, and you see how they do what they do, and you think, oh, I'm gonna do that too, but you don't know they've had to change suppliers so many times because the older suppliers have found out about this trick that they use. It's not everything that the people that we look up to do that we should do too. Okay? Let's say for students, let's say you're going to college or university. and there's a star student there, but you know behind the scenes that the way that this person became the star student is by cheating on their exams and stuff. If you cheat on your exams, when you get into the real world, you don't really know you don't really know anything. So they use their college years to party and have sex and drink and get drunk and attend the what do you call them, the fraternity meetings and whatnot, but they don't spend any of it studying the subject that they went there to study, because they have this access to get all the answers anyway, especially if everything is on computer. They could get all the answers. They might get one or two wrong deliberately just to make it not look so suspicious, but they still come out high ranking. Don't know a fucking thing, for real, for real. And you find out about this secret and you got the money to pay for it, because I'm sure something like that need to be paid for. So you pay your money and you get the access to. You come out also not knowing anything in the real world. When you do get a job, because if you come out with great marks, people of high repute, some of the best companies, they're going to be looking at you for a new hire. And if you, when you get into that job, then you and them realize that you don't know a fucking thing. You don't really know what you're talking about. You don't really know how to do the job. Because what? You never studied. You never took your university years seriously, because you found the cheat code. So yeah, you may look up to that person, but it's not all of their characteristics or their personality traits that you must take on as your own. Use forethought so that you can do a risk assessment, so that you can do great risk management. Save yourself the drama and the trauma. It's like, yeah, I love you, but you're on your own with that. Okay? Shit, I know what shit. I can see where that's going, and yeah, that's not me. Yeah, but do you? So yeah, model and judge. So being the president of your own life, your own fate, your own world. Yes, you admire these people, but it's not everything that they do or everything that they say that you need to take on as your own. Use your discernment. Know where to draw the line between uh, admiring someone and, I guess, idolizing them. That's why I guess the Bible say it's not good to have idols. Let me see what idolatry mean. Let's just look that up. Idolatry. Because we hear words and we think we know the meanings, but sometimes it's good to make sure. Idolatry, worship of idols. Okay. To idolize is to love or admire excessively. An idol is an object of excessive devotion. Okay. So an object of excessive devotion. Then you got image of a god as an object of worship. That's not the one that we're looking for. The meaning that applies to this reading is object of excessive devotion. So The object in this case would be the people that we look up to, the people that we rate as the highest of the highest, the best of the best in whatever field they're in. Well, the best that we know of. Okay? So, excessive excessive devotion. So anything that's excessive is something that's like too much. And devotion mean I give my all to you, or I give a large portion of my attention, my time, my affection. Uh, when you speak, you promote this person, you know. And a lot of people go so far as to do the things that these people do. Like there's so many people following what rappers do because they think the rappers are cool. So they do just they take on that image and that lifestyle as their own because they feel drawn to it. They're devoted to that lifestyle that these rappers promote. You know, in business, they're devoted to what these billionaires and trillionaires and millionaires do because they want to be like them. But it's not all of their ways that you must take on as your own. That's the point that God is trying to make. Okay? And for the ladies, they like bad gal. Ladies feel drawn to like sexy, bad and bougie image. You know what I'm saying? But it's not all of their ways that you must take on as your own. Okay? Know when to leave those ways with your idol. Let it stay right there. So you don't get yourself into trouble because the rappers can afford to go to the doctor to take care of that STD. Can you? When the rappers go around and they get a whole bunch of women pregnant, they have money to take care of, if not all, most of those babies. Do you? You see what I'm saying? Because you have sex, it's a high chance that you can get someone pregnant. Okay? And the more people that you have sex with, the more chance that you have babies out there all over the fucking place. To each their own, but to me that's not nice. Cause then your children grow up fucking meeting each other and not knowing that they're actually brother and sister, and then they start having sex with each other. I think that's very irresponsible behavior. We need to stop that. How would you like to meet up on your brother, your half brother or half sister, and fall in love with them? And just before you really start to get deep into like, because you know most people, they don't really dedicate themselves to a relationship like that. Now suppose you meet up on somebody and you finally decide, you know what, I'm gonna try and be a good boy, I'm gonna try and be a good girl, I'm not gonna cheat on this one, I'm not gonna treat this one like shit, I really want to make it work with this one. And after you set up your mind like that, then you find out, oh, that's your brother, oh, that's your sister. After you've been a player all this time, not really caring about relationships, not really taking it so seriously, now you finally decide to take it seriously, only to find out, shit, that's my brother, or that's my sister. Now what? God says it's forbidden to have relations. Incest is a crime. God says up to your third cousin. So I think like first, it's scientifically wrong because you create DNA, negative DNA effects by having by um by procreating or making children with people whose DNA is too similar to yours. They're born there's a high possibility that they'll be born with like low immune system. They won't be born whole. It messes up their overall structure. Okay. I don't know about psychological issues, but I've heard about um, being easy to catch diseases and stuff. Their immune system is really weak. I would think that if you mix two of the same together, you get something stronger. I used to think so, but I did a reading and God was like, nah, they're too similar, so it gets weak. I need to dig more into that to understand how is that even possible. But your first, second, and third cousin, how does it go, most high? Your first cousin is a no. Your second cousin is a no. So definitely your brothers and your sisters are no's, okay? So your first cousin is a no. You should not get with your first cousin. That's an abomination. Your second cousin is also a no. What about your third cousin? This part always. Third cousin, yes or no, most high. So third cousin, yes. From the third cousin onwards, you can safely procreate with them because the generation, the DNA construct is quite dissimilar. There's a gap in between. But first cousin, second cousin, nah. Okay, you're gonna give your child problems. So obviously your brother and your sister is a no. I'm hearing aunties and uncles are no. I should be writing this shit down. I be getting too much information. It's just on the videos, and it's like when I need to recollect, I can't freaking remember. But I'm gonna write this down. So the auntie and the uncle is a no. I'm hearing something about second. What's that second uncle? The point is there needs to be a gap in between the DNA construct. Okay. If they have too much of a similar DNA to you, you can actually birth a disabled child. I don't know what they call them now, but yeah, you can have a child with disabilities, and that's unfair to the child, because they have to live with it. You don't, and you will pay for that. Because if you know better and you don't do better, then it's on you. You created that circumstance for that child. So every time you look at that child and it's the inconvenience of its life, that's on your hands. Okay, let's see what else God wanna say from this deck. So, not everything that your role models do, you should follow. Should I stop with this one? Okay, that's the end of that one. I think I should probably stop this live because I believe that the next deck is gonna. Is this a new message or? Yeah, so we're gonna stop this live, but I'm gonna come right back with this one. So that's half an hour. Good. So I got another work, like half an hour worth of work in me. So I'm gonna stop this live, yeah, and then I'm going to label this one if they release my video. And then we're gonna come back and get the message with this deck. Okay. And then we'll save this one for probably tomorrow. Got one more deck. All right, so we're gonna stop this one. See you guys on the next side.